They wear rose-colored glasses when it comes to their kids, don't they? Their kids are the best. Would y'all not say that, moms? Your kids are the very best at everything they do, aren't they? Sarah thinks that about Bradley. Dads are more real. Right? I never will forget one time as a young boy, my little brother thought he was a singer. And he sang at church. He sang Long Black Train. And I was waiting for somebody to hit me with a long black train when it was over. And I remember my stepmom is just like, oh, Brother Garth Brooks is up there singing. She was excited, felt good about it. She did. He's up there, he's about 13. And I remember on the way home, we're riding home, and my dad's up the front. Dads are the real thinkers here. And he said, son, truer words, godlier words were never spoken that day. He said, son, for the betterment of our church and the growth that I think God's got for us. This may not be exact word, but this is how I heard it. I was praising back. He said, and for the reputation of our family. You do not need to sing for a while. And I think I may have spoken tongues. I remember when I got excited, I believed him. He was right. And then when I got older, I experienced that realness that a dad sees. True. When Bradley was born, every woman in my life told me, said, Kendall, when you see that baby, when you have that little boy, you look at it, one, it will be the most greatest day, one of the greatest accomplishments you'll ever feel proud, you'll ever feel. And that was true. And then they said, I know no men ever told me that, it was all women. She said, next thing is this. When you see that baby, that'll be the most beautiful thing that you ever see in your entire life. And I remember they garbed me up in the ER stuff. I felt like a doctor. I got in there and I sat in a little chair because I was fall risk. So I sat in a little chair and sat there by Sarah's head and patted on her. And they said, here he is. And I turned the corner ready for that moment that everyone talks about. And here's the deal people don't realize. Bradley, when he was born, was naked. He had tentacles and wheels. He had a light on his head. It was pointed. You could have rode with him. He had, but it was awful. It was absolutely awful. And I got him, and I'm a little nervous because I've never dealt with an extraterrestrial before. I'm getting over there by his head, and I bring him over to Sarah, and I say, here he is. And I kind of don't know how she's going to react because this is a phenomenon of some sort. She looks over, she says, oh, he's beautiful. And I knew right then that the drugs they give her were powerful. But dads are real, aren't we? We're real. We see things the real way. Glory to God. I don't know what I'm going to preach today. That was kind of all I had planned. Turn with me to Colossians 3 and 18. Who knows that fathers hold a very special place in society? A much higher place than really we're given. Who's ever watched a TV or commercial lately where the dad is kind of portrayed as a little goofy fella that can't work the washing machine or can't take care of the kid? Or that's kind of how we're portrayed. Dad's right, the goofy guy that can't really do anything right. Who knows that God has a lot higher level, a lot higher plan for dads today in this world? Every Mother's Day I've ever been to, mothers were honored and they deserve to be 110%. And about every Father's Day I've ever been to, dads were beat up and told how they need to be better. Is that not accurate? Today I don't want to do that. I want to encourage you. I want to remind you today how important it is. We're real thinkers, us dads. We see things real. We see them exactly how they are, but for some reason we have forgotten how really important it is to be a dad. Sometimes we get so caught up that we forget just how really important our place is and how really important our role is in the family. And that's what I'm going to talk about. Like I said, American society seems to see the fathers as expendable parts of the family unit. Sadly, many men also neglect to see the real importance of their role as a father, which is why the term deadbeat dad was originally coined. As a result, kids are growing up in an unbalanced, dysfunctional home. Facts. Right here's a fact. 39.6% of kids are going to go to bed tonight without their father in the home. Fathers need to be reinstated to the level of importance that God intended for them. When dad is undervalued, so is our right relationship with Abba, our Father in heaven. To Today, my goal, like I said, is not to remind us of our duties and responsibilities as much to remind us of the importance of them. So let's go. Colossians 3:18 through 20. Right here, the Bible introduces a model for the family. This is like one time a year I get to read this out loud. So I'm giddy about it. I may read it twice. Wives, submit to your husbands. Let's stand up on this. We all do it. Glory. Colossians 3:18. Wives, submit to your husbands as is fitting in the Lord. I messed it up. I'm going to read it again. Wives, submit to your husbands as is fitting in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives and do not be harsh with them. Children, obey your parents in everything, for this pleases the Lord. Fathers, do not embitter your children, or they will become discouraged. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you excited about you, excited what you have for us. Thank you for the opportunity, Lord, to come together and enjoy each other, enjoy you, enjoy your word. We ask that you bless this service, Lord. Let us realize and recognize just how important our calling, each and every individual here, our calling is on our life and for our world. Lord, we ask that you bless this service. And everybody says, amen and amen. Lord. So here we see Colossians. The Bible introduces a model for the family. So as far as authority, the father is deemed the head of his household. In 1 Timothy 3:12, he is urged to manage his children and his household in a respectable manner. So the father is in charge of looking out for the best interests of his family, financially, spiritually, and socially, right? All aspects. Fathers aren't given a rule book on how to conduct themselves. When I became a dad, I needed one, but I didn't get a chicken soup for the dad's soul or probably more my style would be the dad's dummies. I didn't get that. Most dads, or I'm going to say all dads, learn to be a dad two ways. The first one is this, how they were parented, how their dad treated them. The relationship they had with their own dad, how their dad reacted to situations, how their dad did things. That is kind of the number one way that we learn to be a dad. Dads, that's a great responsibility, isn't it? Yeah. When you think that day is your child, whether he's grown or young, how you raise your children is how they learn to raise theirs. The second thing is this. He learns from his relationship with God and his Word. I can remember the sense of strength and protection my father exuded. He was always looking out for his family, and while he never exuded... Here's the deal with my dad. My dad wasn't... I'm going to say dads are mostly this way. There's exceptions to every rule and whatnot. But there is kind of a thing out there that an ideology that dads don't love like moms do because dads aren't tender as moms are. And dads aren't as soft and emotional a lot of times as moms are. Right? Women usually say mom's usually the emotional. When a kid falls, mom's the first one there. I've seen moms that can run 4 240s when a kid falls. It's impressive. Do backflips, American Ninja Warrior stuff. They coming in on ropes and stuff. It's amazing. Dads say, get up, you're fine. Dads are usually the ones that push them down. Playing with them too rough. But there's an ideology that dads don't love the same. Can I tell you today that dad loves just as much as anybody else? It's just shown differently. Right? Instead of soft, tender hugs, big old bear hugs. Instead of emotional, more intimate things, it may be I remember my dad was a protector of our family. If somebody did somebody wrong in our family, my dad was not right. He was out. Wasn't interested. Now, if we did wrong, he was out too. He would hear the whole side of the story, and he may say, "Kiddo, you're wrong here." But most of the time I wasn't. And when I told him, "Dad, I've been done wrong," he didn't like it. When my little brothers were done wrong, when something happened with anybody, he didn't like it. He was a defender, and that's how he showed his love. Are you with me? Yeah. That's how he showed his love. He was a defender of the home, a protector of the home. My dad worked hard in a factory every day and hated every day of it. Yeah. But he did it so that we could, he didn't get to choose what he did, but he did it so that we could eventually choose what we did. Yeah. And that was love. That may not be the same love as, a bedtime story, but that was love. That is how dads oftentimes show love, and it can, like I said, it can be viewed as different, but can I tell you today, it's every bit as powerful as any kind of love. Dads don't love as much. The people have this perception. I wrote this down. I'm going to read it. Dads don't love as much because they aren't as emotional or endearing. But fathers have the capacity to love just as much as anyone. It's just shown differently. Dads are just designed by God to show love in different ways. They express their love when they guard their family and provide good things for them. And when I say good things, I'm not talking about just material things, good things. Right, so since almost 40% of kids grow up without a dad at home, we know there has to be another source of example, right? Because if those are the only two examples, then you'd have a lot of people that never would be dads. They would never know. So there's got to be another source of an example, and there is, and his name is Jesus. Right? Jesus is I would say, the perfect source for what it is to be a dad, the perfect guy. And here's what he is. Number one, he's a provider. Peter asked the Lord how they were going to pay their taxes. Remember this? Jesus, how are we going to pay our taxes? And Jesus told him to take a coin from a fish's mouth. He fed multitudes with just a little bread and a little fish. He was a Lord of provision. He is a Lord of provision. I said that past tense and I shouldn't have. He is a Lord of provision. 1 Timothy 5:8, I'm kind of paraphrasing, it says like, if anyone does not provide for his relative, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Now when I'm talking about providing, dads, the importance of providing is real. But it isn't just in the ways we often think it is. You know, it ain't just in the way of making sure bills are paid. Right? That's kind of what usually, guys are hardwired, we want to support our families financially. That's just what we want to do. We want to make sure that our kids have more than we have. Is that accurate? Yeah. But who knows, God says, I want to provide. Christ, when he walks up, he provided way more than just monetary things, didn't he? Can I tell you today that Jesus wants us to provide our time to our families. He wants us to provide our love. He wants us to provide safety to our family. Our family, when they're around you, they should feel safe. They should feel, I know we can't control everything, but when they're around you, they should know that you're for them. Every time. I think that is a fatherly trait. I think you show me a good dad, and I'll show you somebody when their kids are around them, those kids know without a shadow of a doubt, my dad is for me. Who knows today that your heavenly Father is for you? 100%. But we should show safety. We should show time, we should show safety, we should show love, we should show wisdom. I hate this saying, I don't like it a bit, but I've heard it a lot. I've heard people say, well, I want my kid to learn like I did. Go through the stuff, they need to go through the things I went through so they can learn like I did. I didn't have nobody helping me. I don't know how many times I've heard people say that, I'll say something about your kids. Oh, they're going through a rough patch, but hey, I did too. I didn't have nobody helping me. Can I tell you today that the greatest gift a father can give is wisdom so that your kid don't have to go through the things you went through? Yeah. That's what Jesus came to do. Jesus came to bless people so they would never have to go through the things that he had to go through. Are you with me? Am I right? I think I am. I think I'm really right. He came here to be for people so that they didn't have to go anymore and find a goat and travel all the way around for a temporary blessing. He came so that people can have eternal life with him. He imparted wisdom on his disciples. He was there. And that is the very same thing as dads we've got to remember is so important, is to give wisdom to our children. If Bradley can go through life and avoid some of the stuff that I had to deal with because of my stupidity or my immaturity or whatever it may be, great. Good. Be that. Be that person in their life. Fathers are people of provision, are providers. Next thing is this. Fathers are people of discipline. That's a role of a father, is discipline, isn't it? When Jesus rebuked Peter, remember what he said? Satan, get thee behind me. Right here, Christ is not portraying a spirit of hatred, or a spirit of dislike, or a spirit of frustration. Here, Jesus is portraying a spirit of love. Right? He's portrayed the power of love through discipline, not wanting Peter to be lost in the old way of thinking. He's disciplining him so that he'll be better. Right? He wants him to be better. Discipline is difficult, and it is oftentimes received as a bad thing. But it is a primary fruit of fatherly love. Dad has to discipline if he loves his children. My dad loved me. I know that to be so. But really, though, we view discipline as it's a bad thing, right? If Bradley knows he's done something wrong, he's going to ask me, Daddy, am I about to get a spanking? And me being the honest man that I am, yes, you are. You are. And it's perceived as bad, right? Oh, no, why? Don't blame him for that. Don't do that. That's bad. But really, it's love. Who knows discipline and beating your kids are two different things? So take that out of context anyway. When my dad used to say, I'm doing this because I loved you, I didn't believe him. That was a lie. You need to repent. But he meant it. Because a lot of those things that I did that he disciplined, I didn't do again. And I'm better because I didn't do it again. I never will forget this one time. I was quite the bike rider once I learned it about 12. And I remember that I'd go over to my friend's house and Dad would say, we live on a real steep, hilly road. Y'all wouldn't know nothing about that, but it was a big old hill. And I remember I'd ride to my friend's house and he'd make me ride through the grass. They do a couple neighbors' yards, They didn't care. It was awful, though, because I just didn't like it. It wasn't cool. So I'd ride over there and we'd hang out there. One day I figured out that hill, if I go down that hill on that pavement, that's it, I'll be fine. That's how I'll do it. So one day I'm leaving, I'm doing a little sprite, I go down and I take that road, and I go down that hill and I pull in the yard, kind of look around, nobody saw me. Well, that became Ken's highway from then for a while. I drove down that thing and one day, I'm doing like I always did, knowing that I wasn't supposed to, I went down that hill and there's my dad sitting on the porch. And immediately, I don't know why I thought this would work, you're young, but I get off and I throw my bike and I say, I forgot, before he ever says anything. Completely slipped my mind. And anyways, I got a pattern. I got in trouble. And I remember thinking, my dad is hateful for whipping me for that. That isn't love. He's mad at me. He don't want me to have fun. He don't want me, to be able to do stuff. 2 weeks later, my dad's backing out of our driveway. So make it over the hill, 70 mile an hour. Totals it. What if that had been a little kid on a bicycle? Discipline is love. Discipline is love. Jesus. Pull up Proverbs 3:11-12. I didn't mark it, I forgot. Proverbs 3:11-12. It says, my son, do not despise the Lord's discipline, and do not resent his rebuke, because the Lord disciplines those he loves. As a father, the son he delights in. Discipline is love. I read this story today. It's pretty funny. It talked about this boy, and he was struggling real bad in math. Really bad. And the dad came to him and said, son, we got to do something about these grades. And he said, Dad, it's the teacher's fault. He said, they won't help me. I can't learn nothing. And his dad was a simpler guy. He said, well, I'm not going to be helping you. So they made some phone calls, and they found a private school, a Catholic private school for him. And the boy said, Dad, it's the teacher's fault. So the boy said, okay. Dad said, okay, we're going to send you to this new school, and I think your math grades are going to be better. So he went there. 6 weeks later, here he comes in with his progress report. He lays it out there, all A's. Math is an A+. He said, son, that's it. He said, was it the teachers, helping you more? He said, no. The dad said, well, is it the small classrooms? No. He said, is it the real inventive way that they're doing it? The way that they're doing it? No. He said, what is it? He said, day one, Dad, I walked in class. He said, they had a man nailed to a plus sign. He said, and I knew they took their math real serious. next thing is this. A father is protection. Protection. Like I said, he's safety. He's a place you can go whenever you need him. Whether it's your fault, not your fault, whatever. A father is a place you can go and feel safe. Know that you're not judged, that you're not beat down, but that you know that you've got love right there. Who knows there's no better scene of that than with our Father God the Father. He is a safe place. He's a place you can go when you're at your very lowest, whether it's your fault or not. I love that. There's some places you can go when you're low, but if it's your fault, they don't want you. He says, I'm a place you can go whether it's your fault or not. I'm a place you can come to, and I'm there for you. And that's what a father is. He's protection. He's there for his children. But can I tell you what the greatest thing, I'm going to kind of wrap this up today. The greatest thing that a father can be, a father can show, is a legacy of salvation.
Yes, yes.
That is the greatest thing, dads, that you can ever be. That is the most important thing that you will ever be. That is the realest thing that you can ever be. And that is a legacy of salvation for your children. That's the greatest gift you can ever give them. Is that they can grow up seeing what a godly man is in their life. That they're not a statistic that lays their head at night and don't have a father. But that every day, you don't just say it, but you show it. Every day. That is the greatest gift that a father can give. That is the most important thing a father can be. That is the realest thing. And that is a godly man with a legacy of salvation to pass on to his children. Who knows that's true?
Okay.
Who knows today that sometimes walking this path that we're called to walk is not easy. Jesus didn't say, Lord, please let me go hang on the cross. He said, if there's any way around it, Lord, let it be shown to me. Let me see it. But your will be done. And when he seen there was no other way, he did it for love, for a legacy. That's when the legacy started. That's what Christ gave us. You know that day on the cross, when he said it is finished, he began the legacy. Now, dads, it's our job to continue it on. And continue it on. The greatest gift. That's better than a good Christmas present. That's better than teaching them a great sport. That's better than anything you can say or do is just being a man of God. That is the greatest thing. I can't tell you what I got for Christmas as a child. I mean, I can name a few sporadic things, but I can't say, hey, year one this, year two this. I can't tell you every ball game I played that my dad went to. He went to a bunch of them. I can't tell you all of them. I can't tell you every time my dad said attaboy. I forgot some of them. But I can tell you today that my dad, without a shadow of a doubt, lived a life of godliness before me. And that's something I'll never forget. And today, that's what I want to pass on to Bradley. That's what I want to pass on to this little baby girl tomorrow. Because that's stuff that sticks. That's not temporary stuff. You know, there's stuff that I got for Christmas when I was young that probably don't even exist anymore. It's been thrown in the trash and done away with, and I don't even exist. And there's moments that I thought were so big and so important that I had forgotten it, and they might as well not exist anymore because I forgot it. But that's something I will never forget, and it will live on. And if I carry it on, it won't leave after my dad dies. It'll live in me. And then when Bradley gets old enough and I'm gone, it will live in him, and it can live until the Lord comes back. But it's got to live in you first before you can pass it on. Let's all stand right now.